Welcome back to ICO Review, and today we'll be having a look at a few things in what I'm going to call things I've been emailed about this week. Now, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by ICOexplainervideos.com. If you're looking for an animated explainer video for your ICO or blockchain related product, then these guys are the best on the market, in my opinion, which is why I have them here on the channel. You can find the link to their website in the description below. So the first company that I want to have a look at that has emailed me this week is XMED. Now we'll obviously speak with a focus on XMED, but these guys bring a trend to mind that I'm noticing a little bit more lately, especially within the last 6 weeks, with medical and medical industry related DApps popping up and around the place. So there are various incarnations of medical blockchains popping up in and around the place, as previously mentioned. So we've got Beat, which is encompassing fitness as well. We've got MedRec and we've got MediChain. So all of them have a similar concept in that they are using the blockchain to secure client, or in this case, patient records that can also be controlled by the patient themselves. So, of course, the blockchain is making all of these records e-tamperable, or, the immutability of the blockchain, as we often hear, but also giving control of said records back to the patient themselves. The difference with XMED here is that they are allegedly incorporating AI tech into it, which is the first time I've heard of that happening in the medical blockchain space. And of course, XMC is no different in that it will store the individual's private information, medical records, on the blockchain for security and immutability. And I'm grateful to XMC for spelling it all out step by step on the website. But let's just pop down and have a look at the AI specifically. So the use of the AI here is to essentially assist in diagnosis, if what I'm interpreting here is correct. So if you think about people utilizing WebMD to try and figure out what's wrong with them, instead, you use the XMC database here. And where the artificial intelligence comes in is in and around about step 4, intelligent match of medical data. So users can learn the global medical data, including the patient's height, gender, weight, symptoms, hospital visits, as well as the medical technology and drugs that have been tried, as well as the satisfaction degree, and so on. So the user purporting what has been effective for them and what has not. Then the AI tech will kick in. The data can be intelligently searched and matched to different levels. As a result of the intelligent screening, the AI system will provide the most appropriate global medical solution based on the patient's medical records and abandon the unverified data from the internet. So I think in that paragraph, there was a little bit of translated English happening there. So my interpretation of what's happening here is by utilizing AI, we're able to establish a little bit more of a global system. So no matter where you are in the world, the AI will be able to break down what it is that you need and recommend you to either treatments or systems locally. And having a look here, just to back up that point, XMC aims to facilitate the standardization of medical data processing and implement a system where information can be exchanged transparently in a secure manner, ultimately forming a globalized medical data system based on the user's needs. So I think the proposed use case here is fascinating. It's a big ask. It requires a lot of adoption, but it's things like this that get me excited about the future of the blockchain, because I don't necessarily know what the medical industries are like globally, but I know here in Australia, it's extremely specialized and extremely segmented. The amount of quote-unquote allied health professionals that are out there in their own individual categories, it's very difficult to know who to go to for what problem. And a lot of the time, general practitioners don't necessarily know either, because they're operating on, say, 5 or 10 years old education as opposed to what's current and relevant today. So this AI could be a system in referring you out to the correct medical professional. Having a look at the use of the XMC token itself within this ecosystem through the application of smart contracts, users can submit their medical records or other medical data to XMC. The XMC system analyzes the data and generates optimal medical service options for such users and provides a platform of information for patients to locate a safe one-stop healthcare consultation. And you can see here, for those of you on YouTube, the graph in front of us that the XMC token is at the center of that. So in sending through the XMC token with your information, it of course initiates a smart contract for your information to be put onto the blockchain. And implementing that system, as I've already inferred, is to guarantee the authenticity of said information. So with that being said, the value proposition of the token itself is in fueling the XMC database, the XMC ecosystem, which is a very standard utility token proposition. Now, something like this in terms of its return to you as the investor, I wouldn't expect anything overnight, and I would really only expect something to 2 or 3 times your initial investment. Of course, this isn't financial advice. That just seems to be how these specialized utilities tend to go, and that is subject to them meeting their timeline goals. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there are a few out there similar, Medical Chain, MedRec or Medical Records, Beat, but none of them that I've seen thus far incorporate AI. But if you are aware of a medical record ICO that holds a light to this one, then post it in the comments down below. I'd love to have a look at it and share it on the channel as kind of an update to this particular review. And of course, ICO date, Q2 of 2018. They're currently actually in private sale right now, and then public sale will be kicking off towards the end of April 2018. Moving over to our second ICO, Evareium. So at a glance, it's a real estate investment platform designed with accredited investors in mind, accredited investors that were seeking an asset-backed investment platform, specifically in this case, real estate assets. So the whole concept here is to crowd pool for real estate related assets. But the benefit is, of course, if you're that way inclined, you don't necessarily need to be in the same place or know the people you're crowd pooling with, whilst at the same time you don't need to develop trust or rapport because of the trustless nature of blockchains, utility tokens, etc., etc. So here, of course, this token is bound to the performance of its underlying assets. So looking at things a little bit deeper now for Evareium, allegedly they have secured the right to acquire select serviced apartment properties comprised of over 395 luxury apartments in an exceptional location within one of the up-and-coming master planned communities in Dubai. These serviced apartments are in a 5-story building with distinct architectural form. Allegedly, their asset inspection was very positive, and their expert team are extremely satisfied with the very high quality of the property. If this is to be believed, then they are already sourcing the underlying properties that will fuel the token. And having a look at their current inventory, it is allegedly sitting at 700 plus managed apartments and leased retail areas. So that's impressive if that all checks out. It's really quite impressive. And while we're speaking of impressive, I just wanted to pop down to the advisory board. A lot of these names I don't necessarily know, of course. However, Knight and Franklin, I do know Knight and Franklin, and I'm aware that they are huge in the real estate game. So if Knight and Franklin are on board with this, and again, I'd seek confirmation before proceeding, but if they truly are on board with this, then that is a massive feather in the cap of Evareium. To my disappointment, there is no platform here that we can really test, no beta. Having a look at the timeline, they sold out pre-ICO. They're currently in first ICO phase, of course, 1st of March through to the 5th of April for first ICO phase, with second phase to be announced, which is probably wise considering the current state of the market. Then investing the proceeds from ICO will go to purchase more real estate. So with this particular ICO, I would do a little bit more research and make sure that the token isn't a utility, and I really don't think it is. Having a look at the description of this particular project, I'm pretty certain that it would be considered a securities token. So of course, remember that they are regulated a little bit differently depending on where you are in the world. And look, the only ICO I could find that is similar to this one is one called Sky Properties, which is going into ICO phase. However, they're based in the US, so with the current changes with the SEC, I don't necessarily think they're much of competition to Evareium right now. Now, having a quick look at the token economics of this particular one, while I think the platform is really quite cool, a weakness here is that I believe that their soft cap figures are a little bit outdated for the current market. Their soft cap target is 90 million, which makes sense. They need to buy properties, etc. However, I do believe they'll have a hard time in the current market hitting the 90 million mark. I think it would be wiser to lower the cap down to more about 40, but really, what do I know about property? But just having a look at the numbers that are being put up in the current market, I just think that they'll have a bit of a hard time hitting that mark. But that's less about their project and more about the state of ICOs right now, especially with the $1 token price. Of course, with the discount for early ICO being applied, I think it sits at about 85 cents. But it's a cool one, and I look forward to seeing what the interface looks like, as well as what kind of returns it generates over the next 2 years. I think I'll actually pick up a few of these for myself just for the experiment. And finally, let's have a look at NYNJA, which is a badass sounding name. What they're doing here is a platform that unifies communications, commerce, and governance on the blockchain. If they can get enough traction, I feel as though NYNJA might take some of the market share away from Telegram. And of course, Telegram's just gone through their ICO and they're putting up big numbers and all of that. However, I've noticed that the blockchain crowds tend to migrate from platform to platform. We're on Slack, the scammers come in, we move to Telegram. We're on Telegram, the scammers come in, we might be looking for somewhere else to go. And I like the look of NYNJA at face value, but let's dive a little bit deeper. So before I go on a excited rant, let's quickly have a look at the token. So the expected total supply is 5 billion, with the amount of tokens allocated to be sold in token sale is 2.25 billion tokens at a cost of 5 US cents. Per token. So allegedly the hard cap is a little bit over 100 million, but I couldn't find anything for a soft cap. In the current market, I am hoping that by the time their ICO kicks around, which is in 10 days, which will put us on April 17, I believe, I'm hoping that they can make this app work for less than half, which is often the case. And it could also be that I'm just blind and couldn't see the soft cap. And while we're talking about the application, let's have a look at some of these interfaces, right? So we've got everything detailed in the white paper, the login process. I'll see if I can zoom in for the video a touch. And I'll just shrink myself down a little bit for you all. So yeah, check this out. Got the token transaction confirmation process detailed there in images. And then of course, everything from the welcome screen, so login, a little bit reminiscent of Telegram, but of course I've got this cool little wheel design happening down there. Again, the feed is a little bit like Telegram, classic message setup. But I'm really enjoying this wheel feature. I feel like it's going to make navigation, finding the people you're looking for, etc., a lot easier, as well as, of course, compensating individuals. Now, the freelance labor market, this is very cool. This is very cool. So hopefully you can all see that now on the video, where the wheel allows you to generate a transaction, select the amount. And there are even translation features, design features. This is very cool. Built-in calendar for setting appointments, etc. Voice recording, which is absolutely essential for someone like me. Video calling, which again is just essential for when you're dealing with people in and around the ICO space. At least that's how I'm seeing things. And the built-in crypto wallet as well is huge. Look, I'm just going to stop there because I need to cut myself off and say what I'm about to do here. NYNJA haven't paid me for these words. I need to communicate that. NYNJA haven't compensated me for this conversation I'm about to have. Here we go. So this app is everything I want. This app is everything I want. So for those of you that follow me here on the channel, you probably have an idea that I don't just make YouTube videos. I also advise an ICO, and hopefully I'll be advising a few more if my current talks come off. Now, all of my communication currently goes down in Telegram, recording voice, but that's not enough. Still being contacted by people on LinkedIn, potential advisory roles, or just the odd bit of advice. Then, of course, the channel sponsor, ICO Explainer videos, have me have a look at some of their ICOs for them, give my 2 cents, etc. The ability to not only be compensated for those advisory roles in NYNJA token, they're native in the platform, but also to be able to use everything from voice to video. It's game changing for me because I'm always having to go between this platform, that platform, this wallet to essentially centralize everything here in the app. For somebody like me whose existence is based on social media is huge. And I realize that I've been tiny for that entire rant. It's massive for me, guys. This is a game changer for people like me. But for CEOs of companies, reverse the process. Think about CEOs of companies that are on LinkedIn, that are on Telegram, or administrative teams. So thinking about these CEOs, teams, administrative teams, whether they're part of the company that you're dealing with in the ICO space or whoever it is, because this doesn't need to be ICO specific, as long as the services can be provided in a digital context, whether it be advisory, even online consultation for any number of industries, as long as you're accepting cryptocurrency, this platform is extremely useful for anyone operating in a digital ecosystem. For me, it's a game changer, and I need this thing in my life yesterday. So again, I can't stress enough that these are my own words. I'm not being compensated for this. I really see the world of potential here in this app for creators, for ICOs and companies that are seeking creators, consultants, advisors. I assume a lot of you haven't looked, but the advisory community on LinkedIn is massive. Having a look at the way a lot of conferences organize their speakers, etc. A lot of them have built-in Telegram groups. Why not just go the extra step and make a platform where you can compensate all of your speakers on the spot, where you're grouping them all to communicate about the event? It just makes so much damn sense to me. It makes the world of sense to me. Just quickly speaking about the return and quickly speaking about if anything is similar. Look, other than Telegram being similar, nothing else is out there. Nothing else is out there. Now, while Telegram is good, I've had my fill of it, so I'm definitely going to give NYNJA a go. In terms of the return, look, it's a very diluted token. So I would only expect, 1 to 2 times, something like that. Anything above that's cream, really. I think the potential here is far greater than just the returns on ICO. I think if you're a creator or you're a cryptocurrency professional, advisor, CEO, member of a team, getting involved with this platform is going to yield you a far greater return on investment than just the token itself, in terms of networking, in terms of the ecosystem of the way you operate your business and the way you compensate individuals in that ecosystem. I actually don't care too much about the return on my initial investment. I just want to make this thing happen. That was a little bit ranty of me, but I'm not sorry. It's nice to be excited about something that's popping up on the blockchain. So all of the relevant links will be in the description below for all of these projects. Jump in the Telegrams for the ones that you like. And as always, I have been your crypto enthusiast, and I'll see you in the next video.